All right. Well, hey, hi, we've got John O'Shea here from Helio Lending, Cyios Corporation. John, good to see you. Appreciate you doing
Thanks,
this
Matt.
update. Yeah.
Yeah,
How's everything
thanks, and
going?
thanks for following this up and trying to keep it regular for shareholders. I know it's always difficult communicating when you're in the thick of it. You're sometimes focusing on what you're doing, and I think it's important that we keep doing this. So you're doing a great job chasing me up.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, I know we've got a lot of folks who are excited for what's to come and following along pretty closely. And I know everybody really appreciates these. So, yeah, we thank you
Yeah,
very much.
no
So,
problem.
kind of at a 300 or 30,000 foot level, give us an idea of what's been going on. I know crypto market in particular has been pretty crazy lately. So, maybe update us on where we're at with that.
Yeah, and I think it's important for people to understand. I've had a financial services background for 30 odd years and owned a stockbroking firm and a financial planning firm. Have done a lot of trading. And when we came into the crypto space, we recognized that, regulation is going to come, but it's always going to be slow, and as it is always. They set up some sandboxes, which I'm not sure if that's a US term, where you can sort of get regulated, but it's called a light version. And then there's a whole lot of people that go set up entities overseas, and so therefore basically get outside of the regulation. And I think that that's imminent and very relevant to what's actually been happening. And you look at the big companies like Celsius, which we're talking a very, very big book and massive organization, billions and billions of dollars of assets under management, but they just didn't have internal controls. FTXM is a completely different kettle of fish, and I'll come to that. But one of the things that the crypto space doesn't understand, and that is that when you open an account with a broker, whether it's Celsius or one of the others that are still in existence today, you're actually signing across all your asset. And so when you sign that paperwork, you're then signing it to them. They now own, in the majority of cases, they now own that asset. And so they have the freedom to do that asset as they so desire. And so what they do is that they rehypothecate that asset. So they may be trying to pay you an interest on deposit or a loan, receiving some income, but those figures are not quite enough for a broker to sustain. So what they do is they take those assets and then give them on to another third party, which then will trade those assets and pay them a fee. And what then happens is that they're all commingled. So you, as Matthew, would think that you'd have an account. You would think that you would have a trading account. You would think that there'd be money in that trading account. It's actually just a simulation. Most accounts are simulation. In Australia, we have a thing called HIN, where it's actually tied to the individual and tied to the actual shares. Every individual share is owned by an individual person. Very rare, and that does not happen in the crypto space. So it's a little bit buyer beware. And so it is unfortunate these people have lost substantial amount of money, but they got excited by the overall advantage. But if you're being paid, if you're putting a deposit in and being paid 10, and back in the day it was 20%, how do they get that 20%? And so you've got to realize that, interest rates are paying less than 1% in some countries. How am I getting 20? And so that's because of the risk. And the risk is now being highlighted quite dramatically. The FTXM, that's just immaturity. There's no other way to look at it. I've looked at a lot of information about it, and he was trying to do the right thing, but he had no internal process and procedures. He was a young guy taken to the pops. But then again, look at all these people that didn't do their own due diligence, didn't look at it, blindly signed up. And in fact, he didn't even have basic accounting processes. Commingling was a thing that they took with pride, and then spending, or rumoured to be that he was spending clients' funds on other assets, which is just a no-no. But if you looked at it from a very high period, I don't believe that the clients are going to have much legs to stand on. One, they signed agreements across to FTXM. They didn't recognise what they were doing. He was outside of a jurisdiction that would allow him to have high regulation on him. And, you know, even if you look at his latest tweets and what he's doing, you know, I don't know who's advising him, but he should not be out there talking to the market. And that just comes back and just flares immaturity and not respecting both the governance, the compliance, the regulator. He thinks he can talk his way out of it. And I think that they'll try and chase him as a pedestal to get up. But, you know, it's going to be a long road. And unfortunately, those people have all dusted their money. I don't think there'll be a cent left, especially after administrators and those sorts of people get involved with it. So it's disappointing. You know, I think he was trying to do the right thing, but I just don't think he had the knowledge.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And what do you think about how this has affected the overall crypto markets? You know, a lot of folks now are talking about Bitcoin versus altcoins, you know, being more security in Bitcoin than altcoins. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Do you think they'll come back?
I think that look, it's like everything, every industry you go into, whether it's, you know, if you look at the .com, you know, the Googles weren't around when they first started. So there's a blail traders that go and do it all. And then there's the ones that actually do it slower and more meaningfully and are there for the longer journey. And so I think that that's what's happening, is that you're going through a cycle of growth. It's a very, very quick cycle, and crypto took off massively, and people started talking about it and opening accounts, and they're all making money. Everything's fantastic. But if you look at the crypto market, it's done this as every market's done it. You know, currencies do it, the share market's done it. You know, everything does this cycle, and I don't understand why a cycle in crypto, usually because the drops are so dramatic, but that's because it trades like a foreign exchange contract more so than an equities contract. That these markets are anything more than anything else that's happening in the space. So, in my, you know, basic trading knowledge, I would be saying that it's not probably right now, but in, you know, coming into the new year, it would be a perfect time to be getting back into this, the more concrete products within the crypto space, the ones that are only at the tops, and forget about chasing the, you know, the dodgy coins or any of that stuff for a great win. And if you do, then you really you're going to the casino. But things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, you know, these are all pretty solid businesses in its own right. If you look up, you know, Ethereum's profit and loss as a company, it's a monster organization. You know, we use Ethereum as a service provider, so we pay if clients use it. That's a fundamental business, and that has sound business practices. Whether Ethereum will be here in 5 years' time, I'd be betting I doubt it. If the market moves like it has moved in all other industries, it may be the one that survives. Very difficult to survive at the front end, but you know, that's the way I see it. So look, the technology is there. The technology is insane. So look at it from that perspective more so than the hype and the criminality and these people that are obviously doing the wrong things, and look at the underlying technology, which is no different to the internet. It will be here to stay. Everything will be on the blockchain to the future. It's still very early. You know, it's got a long way to go, but I think over the next, you know, few years, we'll see it stabling a lot more, and hopefully it doesn't go on these mad runs and just, you know, slowly builds back up to where it was, and it'll go through that. It's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And, you know, I think I see a big influx of people who are, you know, adding Bitcoin and Ethereum at these levels and locking it away in cold wallets and things like that. It's essentially
when everyone's
money.
getting out. That's right. What they say, you could get in, right? And I guess that brings us to the point of Helio, the lending. We haven't had any clients lose any money. Our panels dropped right back, originally from 9 and through the evaluation process, but we didn't have Celsius or any of these providers that have fallen over. In fact, no one on our panel, or no clients have lost any funds, which I think is fundamentally important. And in some cases, because of the contracts that the clients were using, they've actually made money during the downward turn. And so they're very comfortable with that. So we're going to continue on with that model of, you know, the concierge service, looking after clients, evaluating their risk and their profile, and then pointing them in the right direction. In regards to the exchange, to my great disappointment, because it's something that is kin to my heart, it's a timing issue. So we don't believe going out and raising the flag at this stage warrants us trying to put some clients on the books just for the sake of doing it. I think this is a timing thing, and I think that that's something that we've only put it on hold. We're not cancelling the idea completely. We're just waiting for an appropriate time when the markets may turn. It's a little bit more easier. And in fact, it's going to be fantastic, because if we take a 1 to 5 year period, obviously crypto will grow over time, whether it's back to its heights and how long that takes. But I think in the new year would be perfect time to go back into the crypto exchange type of model.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. And that's something we talk about a lot, is how even though the market is down, the crypto market is down, and the client pool has dried up a little bit, the Helio and Helio Exchange technology stack exists. It's still there. It's ready to deploy at the drop of a hat. So
yeah,
I think
maybe not at the drop of a hat, but yeah, it's available. So we have opportunities there. But again, we're being conservative. We want to be here for the long term, and I know that shareholders, see this as, oh, well, we want to make money straight away, and I appreciate that. But we've lasted a lot longer than most, and I intend to be here in the next 2 to 3 years to 5 years. Maybe not as the chair, but to grow it, to build it, and then obviously continue to be involved. And being said, I'm a very large shareholder of this company. I've put all my wealth into this entity, and no one can be more disappointed with the share price than myself. But the fact is, I am building the business for the long term, not the short term. So if shareholders can appreciate that, then that's great. And we continue to work, very, very hard to make sure that we're adding value to shareholders.